When you were a kid, what did you think that you would grow up to be? Maybe a doctor or a policeman, ballerina, but what about a farmer? It seems like a lot more people are actually looking to do that. Maybe not full on, but definitely looking for a more self-sustaining lifestyle. Hey guys, it's Brittany, a native to Bristol, Tennessee, and a local real estate agent. I'm really excited about today's video. We're going to be exploring this super popular trend known as homesteading and why our Southwest Virginia and Northeast Tennessee areas are perfect for that. But why are people suddenly taking up this kind of life? What is it, and how can you begin your journey? We're going to find that out so you can really live the good life. First question we have to ask and answer is, why are so many people homesteading? I think that there's a lot of answers for that and multiple reasons. As a millennial myself, I'm going to answer from my perspective since it seems like it's a lot of younger people who are doing this. My grandparents were born in the 1920s here in the Appalachians, so they grew up during a time when farming, or at least homesteading, is just what everyone did. After World War II, I think people really began wanting more in life. So more things, status, or career. So all these things that are considered the American dream. And then you have the baby boomers and Gen X, like my own mom, who really valued this American dream and began to work hard in those other areas in order to achieve that. Growing up in the 90s, and I think even until now, everything is centered around consumerism and convenience and instant gratification. And people my age and probably the younger ones feel anxious and overwhelmed and almost to their limit. And not only that, but it's becoming increasingly harder to find good paying jobs to afford that consumer lifestyle. Another thing is health and wellness are also very important in our lives. And today's food is just full of preservatives, sugars, fillers, and red dye 40, which is apparently really bad for you and is banned in other countries, by the way. Homesteading is an answer to some of these problems. We hear the word homesteading, but what is it actually? First, we have to differentiate between having a farm, having homestead, and having a farmstead. A farm is income producing and usually on a lot of acreage, like 100 or more. A farmer has farmed for income purposes to support themselves and their family. Whereas a homestead is smaller, maybe half an acre to up to 20 acres or so, where food is grown, but there's not really any animals aside from maybe a few chickens. A homestead is self-sustaining. The food grown isn't for income purposes, but rather to be used for the household. This is where the appeal of freedom and security come into that equation. So people want to feel they'll be able to survive in the event something happens, like a job loss or even the collapse of society. The food that is grown is to be used by the household, and extras are canned or preserved for later use. It's healthy, it's fresh, they know exactly where it comes from, and some homesteaders even go completely off-grid, building a well for water and solar panels for electric. There is a third category here. It's called a farmstead. It's like a hybrid of sorts between the other two. It's a homestead that's bigger than the typical one, and it may have more animals like goats, pigs, or cows. And it's what most people think when they think of a farm, with a farmhouse, a barn, and maybe a silo. And while food is still grown for the purpose of feeding the household and not really for income purposes, some farmsteads will trade or barter their excess product. And maybe you've thought about turning over to this lifestyle and know exactly what you want to do. That's awesome. Maybe you're just learning. Either way, it's a really big decision. So I do encourage you to do your research to find what the best fit for you would be. Now we've talked about what it is and why people are doing it. Now comes the best part, which is my favorite thing to do, and that is to buy the land. The great thing about this region of the Appalachians is that there's tons of farmland. We can find anything ranging from a few acres to hundreds. We can find land that has a house already or a vacant land where you can build your dream house. We even have luxury farms if that's more of your style. But stick around, I'm going to show you a few different examples of what we can find in our area of Southwest Virginia. Okay, so let's get started with our four examples of properties. Our first one here is located in Abingdon, Virginia, and it's about 17 acres of unrestricted land. The size really is perfect for a true homestead, and it's also a blank canvas. So if you're a hands-on project person or want to build a custom home, this is an example of a really great spot. It is vacant and currently unimproved, so many vacant lots like this in our area will be raw, but also many times there will be a road nearby where electric is available to be ran up to any house that you do build. This particular property has been perk tested, so septic is ready to be installed here. This is also pretty typical for this type of land, although here and there you will have ones with public water available closer to the road. Or if you really want, you could go completely off-grid with solar panels and a well. If we look here at these pictures, we can see that there is a very nice clear here, perfect for building a house, planting your gardens, having some chickens running around, and there are also woods surrounding it so that you still have that privacy and sense of seclusion. Although it would seem like you're in your own little world, you're actually only 20 minutes from Bristol, which of course is a hub of growth and activity. You can find many pieces of land here that have that same kind of proximity. You can really have it all, a peaceful homestead, but also close to shopping, restaurants, schools, events, and lots more. Okay, our second property is located in Bristol, Virginia, and this one comes with about 9 acres of really beautiful green land surrounded by mountains, and it even includes a log cabin style home. This would be a ready-to-go homestead, a home you can move right into, equipped with your water, septic, and electric, and of course, you've got 9 acres to start planting your gardens and raising your chickens. And because there are woods all around, it is a hunter's paradise where you'll find things like deer and turkey. Properties like this are perfect for modern homesteaders that enjoy urban amenities and being close enough to town, but also desire the quiet countryside and space to build their self-sustaining homestead. Our last two properties are what I would refer to as a homestead, but I also want to talk about a farmstead, and this one is an example of what that is. This one comes with 26 acres of pristine green land, a 3,000 square foot house, and an area with barns for animals like goats, pigs, maybe a couple cows, and of course chickens. It really is a turnkey farmstead ready to sustain a household. In our area of Southwest Virginia, it's really not too difficult to find properties like this that's both sprawling with prime farmland, but again, is close enough to town that running errands or even enjoying a night out isn't going to require a long travel time. By now, we have seen a few different properties. We have looked at raw land for homesteading, a done-for-you, ready-to-go homestead and farmstead. But what about the farm? We have a lot of those here too. Of course, this one here I'm about to show you is not only a farm, but a luxury farm. This one is 415 acres of beautiful, perfect farmland. It has a log cabin, ATV trails, ponds for fishing, multiple camping spots, woods to go hunting, and even a facility with cows ready for you to call your own. It's a farm, yes, but it's also a lifestyle you'd be getting here that you just really can't find anywhere else. And the possibilities here are really endless. You could build a wedding venue, a resort, have campgrounds, or you could just keep it to yourself. These properties are just a few examples of what we have here in the Bristol area of Southwest Virginia. There are so many pieces of land here that's for sale that there really is something for everyone, no matter how small or what your budget is. Speaking of budget, how in the world do you even buy the land once you find it? I think that this part is what scares a lot of people. It scares a lot of banks too, which is why they can be a little strict on loans for land. But that doesn't mean you're completely out of luck. Of course, cash is king, but not everyone has that right now. So now what do you do? If you're buying a blank piece of land like the one in our first example, there's a few ways that we can do that. Our first option would be to get a lot loan. A lot of our smaller local banks would be more willing to do this, as we do have a lot of farmland and farmers who need loans for that. It's not an unusual type of loan for them. Second option would be a construction loan, whether that's conventional or maybe even USDA. This is if you want to build a house right away, and the price of that land would be rolled into the final loan amount. Many bigger banks and lenders can do these loans, but be mindful that the acreage, some of them have overlays to their guidelines that will only allow for a certain amount of acres to be financed as a part of that construction. So it's okay, and I definitely encourage you to ask around to see who can handle your amount of acres. A third option would be seller financing. When people hear that term, it generally has a negative connotation, but it's a really powerful tool if you know how to use it or if you have an agent that does. For properties that already have a house, of course, you could get just the normal, typical mortgage depending on the size of the acreage. There are even agricultural loans you can get. Again, I recommend using a local lender or one that specializes in agriculture loans. I do want to do a part 2 to this farmland video where I actually go on site to one of these properties so you can see up close and in real time what the land is like, how the surrounding area is, and get an idea of how a homestead or farmstead could be set up. But before we head out, I want to say that I am a real estate agent here in this beautiful area of Southwest Virginia surrounded by endless farmland. I do specialize in relocation, but I have a special passion for land and its potential. And I really love helping others discover what they can do with their land and how to get it done. I am proactive in finding out exactly what zoning a property is in and what is allowed or not allowed in that zone. I understand how seller financing works and can put together a persuasive offer for a win deal for everyone. I also can navigate some of those road bumps and find solutions to make sure a vision really becomes a reality. About a year ago, my husband and I bought a 120-acre retired cattle farm. We have specific goals for this land that include things like glamping, a bee farm, and of course, eventually our home. So we really had to make sure that the zoning allowed for our dreams to become a reality. I called the county multiple times just to make sure we were making the right decision on the right property. We were also able to procure this farm through the power of seller financing. Because I have a background in mortgage processing and underwriting, I was able to understand the numbers on the back end and have a persuasive offer to the sellers that they really had no issues accepting. And actually, I have gotten other properties using this method as well. This farmland came with no installed water or electric, so we did have to find some other creative solutions to fulfill that need. Not very many agents have gone through this exact journey that you're about to begin. So I think it's important to find one who does have this personal experience, and I will be that person for you. Make sure to contact me if you have any questions about any part of finding the land, how to buy it, how to build it out. My broker and real estate info is in the description. Message, call, text, whatever you need to do to really get yourself started. Also, make sure to subscribe so you can come along on the next video, which will be a trip to one of these farm properties. I also put out new content every Wednesday and Saturday that you don't want to miss out on. But leave a comment below. Let me know what you think or what questions you may have. And until we meet again, I hope that you live the good life.